We were all promised the same dream, a system where business logic is pure, isolated from the messy details of databases, frameworks, and UI. This is the promise of clean architecture. You've seen the diagram, the concentric circles, the dependency rule, the sacred entities at the center. It looks beautiful on a whiteboard. It feels professional. But then you actually try to build a feature. You want to update a user's email address. In a simple CRUD op, that's 5 lines of code. In a clean system, it's a controller, a request DTO, an input port, a use case, an output port, a response DTO, a domain entity, a repository interface, and a database mapper. We traded readability for the possibility of switching databases, a switch that almost never happens. Today, we're looking at why your code became unreadable and how to fix it. The most painful part of this architecture is the mapping tax. Because the dependency rule forbids inner circles from knowing about outer circles, you can't pass a database model into a use case. You have to map it. First, you fetch a user record from the database. Then you map it to a user entity. Then you perform your logic. Then you map that entity to a user response DTO for the UI. You are writing the same fields, ID, name, email, over and over again in 3 different classes. This boilerplate doesn't just take time to write. It's a maintenance nightmare. If you add a phone number field, you now have to update 4 files and 3 mappers. We've optimized for a hypothetical database swap at the expense of every single day-to-day feature update.
Then there's the interface for everything rule. To keep the core decoupled, we define interfaces for every external dependency. iUser repository, iEmail service, iPayment gateway. This sounds good for testing, but in reality, most projects have exactly one implementation for each interface. When you use go-to definition in your IDE, you don't land on the code that actually does the work. You land on a sterile interface definition. You have to click again to find the actual implementation. This friction adds up. You're navigating a maze of abstractions just to find out how a user is saved. We've introduced cognitive load for the sake of purity, making the codebase harder for new developers to explore and understand.
Uncle Bob coined the term screaming architecture, the idea that your folder structure should scream the intent of the system, not the framework. But when I look at a clean architecture project, it doesn't scream banking system or e-commerce. It screams clean architecture. I see folders like adapters, core, courts, and use cases. To find the logic for placing an order, I have to hunt through 4 different top-level directories. This is the opposite of discoverability. In a truly expressive system, the features should be front and center. By forcing every feature into the same rigid circular template, we bury the domain logic under a mountain of structural noise.
So what's the alternative? Should we go back to spaghetti code? No, the answer is pragmatism. Instead of concentric circles, consider vertical slices. Group your code by feature, not by technical layer. If a feature is simple CRUD, let it be simple. It's okay if your controller calls the database directly for a basic GET request. You don't need a use case for GET ID. Reserve the heavy abstractions for the 10% of your code that actually has complex business logic. Architecture should be a tool that serves you, not a religion you serve. Don't build a cathedral when you just need a shed. Focus on making the code easy to delete, easy to find, and easy to change.